A Maple Grove family is grieving after someone shot and killed their dog. Police are investigating and asking for the public's help. The incident happened sometime Saturday evening. The family discovered their dog was bleeding when they returned home. The family found the dog named Eli in their backyard, which is off of a cul-de-sac near 66th Avenue and Lawndale in Maple Grove. They took the dog to the vet and were shocked to discover Eli had been shot with a pellet gun.
I knew he had lost a lot of blood, but I mean, it crossed my mind that somebody could have shot him, but then I'm like, you dismiss that because of the area we live in. You know, it's just not a reality.
Eli was a rescue dog and had been with the family for more than 10 years. Right now, police do not know who shot the dog. Firing a pellet gun is illegal within city limits.
It's a misdemeanor to shoot a pellet gun in the city of Maple Grove, and it could be enhanced up to a felony if we find out that somebody used this pellet gun to intentionally harm this dog or kill this dog.
A similar crime happened almost a year ago in Plymouth. People donated $5,000 to use as reward money for information about who shot and killed a dog named Porter. But the Dockin family wound up donating the money to charity after all leads dried up. Plymouth police did not make any arrests in that case. A Brooklyn Park McDonald's is temporarily closed after a fire. It happened Monday mid-morning Tuesday at the McDonald's off Highway 252 and 85th Avenue North. 8 fire trucks arrived on scene and got things under control. Firefighters determined one of the fryers had caught fire.
We arrived on scene, determined that there was a fire in the grease system and extended into the ventilation system. So our crews were able to quickly extinguish it using a dry chemical system, extinguisher, and then limited amount of water. So right now the restaurant's closed until they can get things cleaned up, but there was minimal damage, and we're just checking to make sure there's no further extension.
There were no serious injuries, but one person was evaluated for smoke inhalation. The state health department will inspect the McDonald's to make sure it meets all codes before it can reopen. The number of measles cases is skyrocketing. New numbers from the Centers for Disease Control show the largest number of cases reported since 1994. Reporter Sonia Goen shows us what doctors at the Hennepin Healthcare Brooklyn Park Clinic are telling patients.
Most of us have never seen a case of measles.
Dr. Rachel Rapaz says measles spread easily. The virus can be in very small particles in the air and can stay active for several hours.
So you can get measles from moving through an airport where somebody has had measles and been through that airport a couple of hours ago.
Symptoms include high fever, cough, runny nose, and a rash, small red spots, some of them which are raised.
Darker patches inside the mouth, those may not be very visible.
Doctors say the reemergence of measles is linked to parents who choose not to vaccinate their children.
The MMR vaccine for about 2 decades now has not had additional chemicals in it that a lot of the folks who are anti-vaccine are concerned about.
Dr. Rapaz says the best weapon against measles is vaccination.
We really want to get 2 doses in order to be pretty sure of good herd immunity and full response.
Sonia Goins, CCX News.
The doctor also says adults need to check their vaccination records. Anyone who was vaccinated before 1980 needs to make sure they've had 2 doses of the measles vaccine. If you're not sure, your doctor can run a test to check for immunity. At the state capitol, House Speaker Melissa Hortman of Brooklyn Park is challenging the Republican-led Minnesota Senate to come up with a long-term funding solution for roads and bridges. On Monday, the Minnesota House approved a 20 cents per gallon gas tax hike. The increase would happen over a 4-year period and then increase with inflation after that. The measure passed mostly on a party line vote. Such a proposal is expected to face staunch opposition in the Republican-controlled Minnesota Senate. The legislature has a May 20th deadline to finish its work. Brooklyn Park is exploring ways to make the city more food truck friendly. Today, city officials met with vendors to get feedback on future locations.
Looking at opening up some city lots that we may own, city parks, entertaining that idea of, having a park environment or pads that would support food trucks to come in, having events on city Hall. One of the ideas was a Food Truck Tuesday.
Brooklyn Park wants to take the food truck scene to another level. Vendors, meanwhile, say they can work in tandem with brick and mortar restaurants and that food trucks add value to the city.
They're just fun. They're fun, partnered with our brick and mortar restaurants. It just makes Brooklyn Park more food friendly, and when you think of great places to eat, hopefully you'll think of Brooklyn Park.
Brooklyn Park is one of the few suburbs that changed zoning codes to allow food trucks to operate. A coffee shop and a bakery is in the works for the southwest corner of 85th Avenue and West Broadway. The corner building has had several uses over the years, but a developer would like to create a coffee shop and a bakery with a drive-through. The council recently approved the conditional use permit. The name of the coffee shop, however, has not been disclosed. In Plymouth, a new adventure park is getting ready to open. Urban Air Adventure Park will open at a location near Highway 55 and Rockford Road. This would be the second Twin Cities location. The other is in Coon Rapids. The attraction features trampolines and go-karts. The owner of the Plymouth location says it will be the first in the nation to offer a game called Power Up. And you can think of that as a real-life Mario Kart. The grand opening is set for May 11th. And a reminder for you, of course, you can see all of our stories on our website, ccxmedia.org.
Maple Grove's boys lacrosse team came into this week unbeaten with 4 wins by 9 or more goals. They look to continue their strong start on the road as they faced rival Osseo-Park Center. First quarter, and Maple Grove's Jaden Cruz passes to Parker Slotsky, who winds and fires there for a shot and a goal, and the Crimson have a 1-0 lead. Later in the first, Riley Casibo with a run, then passes to Drew Heisler, who scores, and it's 4-0 Maple Grove after 1 quarter. OPC gets on the board early in the second quarter. Damon Lingasson shoots over the defender and in, make it a 4-1 game. OPC gets as close as 4-2, but Maple Grove scores the final 2 goals of the first half. Ian Slotsky scores here, and the Crimson take a 6-2 lead into halftime. Maple Grove extends its lead in the third quarter. Ian Slotsky passes to Josh Steinkoff, who scores to put the Crimson ahead 9-2. Ian Slotsky and number 25 Jaden Cruz scored 3 goals apiece as Maple Grove wins. They beat Osseo-Park Center 13-5. Also in boys lacrosse, Champlin Park scored its first win of the season, defeating Totino Grace 9-2. Drew Heimer scored 3 goals in the win. And you can see Champlin Park in action live Wednesday evening here on CCX as the Rebel hosts Armstrong at 7 o'clock. The game also replays here on CCX1 Wednesday night at 10. In girls lacrosse, Maple Grove entered a Monday with a 3-0 start. They faced off against rival Osseo-Park Center at Maple Grove. After some near misses early, Becky Getz puts the low shot away for Maple Grove as they get on the board first. Emily Herdine, in her first game back from an injury, splits the double team to score, and it's 2-0 Crimson as they take control. Katie Wheeler wins the one-on-one battle, beating her defender to score for a 3-0 Maple Grove lead. Later in the first, Jersey Baronic gets free to score for a 7-1 Crimson advantage. They are up 8-1 at the half. Second half, and Herdine scoops up the ground ball ahead to Phoebe Bachmeyer and over to Getz for a quick transition goal to make it 9-1 Crimson. On a fast break, Bachmeyer sends it ahead to Danielle Key and she scores. Osseo-Park Center gets the last 4 goals late in the game, but it's Maple Grove winning this one 17-5, and they improve to 4-0 on the season. The Champlin Park softball team has already faced most of the top teams in the Northwest Suburban Conference, losing only to Elk River and Maple Grove. Rebels faced another strong team in the league when they played host to Centennial. Some great glove work early. Champlin Park center fielder Aaron Reardon charges hard to make a great diving catch in the top of the first. And the Rebels start fast on offense. Alyssa Blaska rips an RBI single up the middle to score her sister Holly for a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first. Then Taylor Kordiak knocks a hit to right field. It scores Alyssa Blaska, and Reardon isn't too far behind to slide in with another run. Rebels lead at 3-0 on Kordiak's hit. And they aren't done. Still in the first. Kiara Harris tags one to the gap in left center field. Kordiak races around to score to cap a great 4-run first inning as Champlin Park sets the tone early. And the hitting continues in the second. Holly Blaska shows her power, drilling an opposite field home run. It's a 2-run blast. Rebels add one more to take a 7-0 lead through 2 innings. In the fourth, Holly Blaska adds to her big day. She pulls it this time, smacking a solo shot to right field. And that home run makes it 8-1 Rebels. Centennial gets 4 runs later, but the game, they can't overcome Champlin Park in this one. 9-5 Rebels is the final. Also, the Rebels baseball team hosted Chaska Monday. Top of the third, Chaska's Will Magnuson rolls the base hit up the middle to score Matt Kuntz and Patrick Fontaine. And Matthew Rosenberg with a 2-out hit to score Magnuson for a 4-1 Rebels lead. Chaska goes on to win this one. 9-1 is the final as the Rebels fall to the Hawks. That's it for sports. More news in a moment.